It has emerged that a growing number of officers within the general staff of the Russian armed forces are showing clear signs of panic and hysteria following the failure of two strategically important operations, the attempted capture of Pokrovsk and the occupation of Kupiansk. According to sources, these operations were meant to be presented as symbolic victories to Kremlin leader Vladimir Putin ahead of the Christmas period, but their collapse has left Russian military leadership with nothing to show for months of costly fighting. An agent of the Ukrainian partisan movement Atesh, operating among officers of Russia's center group of forces, reported that these failures have triggered serious doubts at the highest levels of power regarding the competence of Russia's chief of the general staff, Valery Gerasimov. The source claims that confidence in Gerasimov's leadership has been shaken at the very top, as promised breakthroughs on the battlefield failed to materialize despite heavy losses. According to the same source, the Russian general staff no longer resembles a coherent and effective command structure. Instead of focusing on operational planning and realistic assessments of the situation at the front, officers are said to be consumed by internal chaos. Conversations reportedly revolve less around tactics and strategy and more around harsh reprimands received from senior political and military leaders. Fear of punishment from above has begun to dominate decision-making. Criticism of Gerasimov, which is believed to be coming not only from the Ministry of Defense but possibly from the Kremlin itself, has not improved the situation. On the contrary, it has made conditions worse. Under pressure to deliver results that match unrealistic reports, senior commanders are increasingly distorting battlefield realities. To compensate for failures, Russian units are being pushed into repeated frontal assaults, often described as meat assaults, where manpower is expended with little regard for losses. As a result, casualties are rising in direct proportion to the ambitions and demands of the general staff. Meanwhile, Ukraine continues to contest Russian claims of success in the Donetsk region. Kiev has stated that Ukrainian forces have been holding parts of Pokrovsk since mid-November, despite Moscow's earlier assertions that the city had fallen under full Russian control. Speaking to local media, Ukraine's commander-in-chief Oleksandr Syrsky explained that Ukrainian troops had temporarily withdrawn from the city at some point in the autumn due to limited capabilities, but later launched counteroffensives that restored control over approximately 13 square kilometers by November 15. Syrsky said Ukrainian forces are currently holding the northern part of Pokrovsk, roughly along the railway line, and have also cleared and secured about 54 square kilometers to the west of the city. He acknowledged that the situation remains extremely difficult, particularly due to foggy and rainy weather, which complicates both reconnaissance and logistics. At the same time, he confirmed that a decision was made several days earlier to withdraw Ukrainian troops from positions located 5 to 7 kilometers from Pokrovsk, as these areas could no longer be properly rotated or supplied and had become vulnerable to enemy infiltration. The commander-in-chief stressed that maintaining those positions was no longer militarily justified. He also rejected Russian claims that the nearby city of Myrna-Rad, located roughly 6 kilometers east of Pokrovsk, has been encircled. While logistics there are challenging, Syrsky stated that supply routes remain operational. These remarks directly contradict statements made earlier by Valery Gerasimov, who claimed that Russian forces continue to advance and have taken control of the southern part of Myrna-Rad, known in Russian sources as Dmitrov.